There's utter disappointment in Wisconsin this week. Find out why on this week's episode of the Eva Report podcast. We're back, episode 271 of the Indie Ball Report podcast. I'm Nick. Ryan's here, and he's going to discuss his wonderful Frontier League preview. I really enjoyed it.
Dude, it'll get done. It'll get done. Don't worry about it.
I mean, the American Association one was good.
Teams have played like 4 games because like the teams in Jersey couldn't get out of the damn rain this week. I'm not that worried. We'll be fine. You guys got the gist of it. Y'all got the gist of it. When we talked and here. So if you're listening to this, you don't even have a right to be annoyed about it. So that's that.
I mean, if you're listening here, you're already a psycho, so you know.
I will say the American Association preview had multiple where I was like way different in my own preview when I really got some more time to look, and I was like, what the hell was I talking about? So I don't know. Sorry, I only give you my worst work.
Mr. Bait and Switch here.
Yep, you know.
Yeah, that's just utterly disappointing.
Can we talk about it? Are we talking about it already?
We might as well just jump right into it.
Yes, I'm so excited.
You're like a kid on Christmas. You're really excited to talk about the Milkmen.
I am, dude. It just another gets me going.
I know. You're a fiend for teats.
Big episode for teat humor. Big podcast for teat humor, for honest.
We're going to be doing this till the cows come home.
Yeah, nice. That's exciting. Some teat humor, though. But yeah, right.
We're gonna be hiring these full cylinder. We're going to milk them. But
yeah, you're definitely going to milk this joke. That's for sure.
So Milwaukee's in the news, in case you couldn't tell with all the barnyard talk. We got 2 different levels to this. The first is more for shame on ownership. The other is more for shame on annoying neighbors.
Mm-hmm.
So let's get the ownership bit out of the way first, because I'm kind of conflicted on my stance on it. And I guess it's one of those ones where I need more information to really have a full opinion on it. But here's the basics of it. So the Rock Sport Complex / Ballpark Commons are owned by ROC Ventures, which also owns the Milwaukee Milkmen, hence making it relevant. They apparently owed $935,000 in TIF money. If you recall from a few weeks back when we talked about the American Association's expansion strategy, you'll recall the TIF discussion, but the long and short is essentially it's giving money to private ventures in exchange for increased tax revenue. Long and short of it, that's a really oversimplification of it, but go back like 3 weeks if you want the full gist of it. But that's basically it. Now, the money owed is a shortfall from the projected development. So they were supposed to be at a certain point. The value was supposed to be at a certain point, and the difference is what I assume is what is owed here. So they're about $1 million short of what they should be at. Money was owed. City voted to take legal action. Next day, ownership paid the money. Still going to fight it. They disagree on the amount that is owed. It's essentially not that they owe money. They know they owed it. They just don't think that's the right number. They'd like to know how that evaluation came to be. That's pretty much it. Ryan's smiling, so I think he wants to jump in.
I just found something else. No. I'm more on the neighbor side currently, but I do have a little bit of input on the owner side, but I'll let you keep going.
Okay. So the bill was paid Wednesday. The city agreed to legal action on Tuesday, so that's kind of how that goes. Like I said, Zimmerman's going to continue. Zimmerman owns the team. He's going to continue to try to find a way to recoup some of this money, get some of his money back that he paid there, because $1 million is no small amount of sum to just about anybody. And he blamed the issue on, quote, sensational journalism getting all the residents worked up over nothing.
Yeah, it's something.
That's not a quote. That's not a good quote there. I'd love to know the full quote, but I don't think it would help much.
I don't know that was much better.
Yeah.
I stumble into that nugget by making good choices with the rest of your input.
Yeah. He did say he empathizes with them, meaning the residents, over getting dragged into a situation with a potential tax increase, essentially being led to believe that had they not taken any sort of legal action to recoup the money, their property taxes or some other form of tax would go up to compensate for the difference, which I mean, it just sounds logical. It just sounds like that would be the case. The budget's short that money. Someone's got to pay that money. Simple as that. So that's essentially the whole thing. That seems to be fairly wrapped up. I'm sure they'll look into it, and either he'll get some of his money back or he'll be out the money. Either way, that's the situation there. Any thoughts before we go to the part of this where you're extremely interested in?
There is like a weird history of like questionable stuff. Do you remember much? You might remember or know more than I have because I've only been able to read about it in like the past tense of the stadium naming rights situation.
Vaguely.
If I recall, so it was originally like Routine Baseball was like the naming rights holder. Yeah, and then they like
Routine Field
argued that like basically there was just disagreement about it, and like they had to end up removing all the branding. So it was like formerly known as like Routine Field, and then it became like Milkmen Stadium for a little while, and then eventually they like named Franklin Field. But
yeah, I mean, like I vaguely remember the whole thing where he went around and around on it, but
just weird, like just odd stuff. Like I'm just looking at like part of me I have met and worked with owners, take it how you will, who I swear on my life just are not detailed people, and like to the point of like will not properly read the details of a contract appropriately or like agreement, or like they just assume what they want to assume. I'm not saying this happens here. I don't really have familiarity with the organization like that, but like, I mean, I am kind of like maybe interesting. I do think, I don't know.
It can also just be a case of trying to get something for nothing.
Yeah, though we'll get to it. I do think this area is full of people who are a pain in the ass. Like, there's no other way to say it.
I definitely got that. When we talk about, and I guess we could kind of just transition into it unless you have anything else to say on the whole owing money thing. The only thing I would say is just that it's just another example of reason to be careful of this TIF process. If you're a city or a local resident, that it doesn't always work out in your favor. It's something to watch out for. That's really what I'm getting at.
Yeah. Just thinking through. I'm just doing a quick look. I don't really have much else to add on that piece of it. Yeah, I don't have much else on that. Sorry, I thought I might have, but it just circled right back to stuff we already discussed.
All right. So let's follow up on that pain in the ass neighbor comment, because I definitely got it so far, this whole vibe of them. I didn't quite hear it because apparently you can't make noise over 55 decibels in Franklin.
Which is probably what you and I are talking at right now, honestly. Like, no lie.
Yeah. That's conversation. 55 decibels, just for a frame of reference going forward for this conversation, is roughly background music or just a normal conversation.
Yes. It is hard to, it sounds like we're exaggerating. We are not. Loud for sleep. Also, I'm not sure that's 55 decibels leaving like within the ballpark. I'm wondering if there's a local statute of like at the edge of your property what the decibel level is. I'm not saying that's reasonable either way, but I'm just saying like if people were like, what, you can't even talk in the ballpark. I was like, easy. It is probably like property line.
Yeah.
But still, hey, not good.
Yeah. So the background on this is at the same council meeting, they decided to take legal action and try to recoup their money. The council also voted to cap the decibel level for Milkmen games, and I suppose just kind of enforce the standard across the whole city of Franklin to 55 decibels due to resident noise complaints. These complaints have been going on for a little bit now. It's like we just said, 55 decibels is not particularly loud. For frame of reference, 61 decibels, which is what the team has done their sound checks at, is roughly the sound of a vacuum cleaner going.
Yeah.
So, and the team has tweaked the sound systems in the past. They've removed speakers, put different speakers in, rearranged them. They've tried to accommodate these noise complaints in the past, and it just hasn't worked. And coming into today, Thursday, we thought this would be a firework ban because the team already lost one firework night. I believe they replaced it with a drone show. However, they did manage to get that overturned. They can do the fireworks now, just they have to be done by 10 p.m., which is typically the standard for noise complaints. 55 decibel limit is still in effect, but it faces opposition even from the mayor, who's like, this is kind of outdated, is it not? Like Franklin's not in the same place as when the original rule came into effect. Maybe we should elect to change that. And in case you're wondering, the ambient noise in the area tends to be about mid-50s on the decibel scale. So, yeah, it's a bit ridiculous. Yeah.
A little bit. Just an ittle biddle.
Yeah. And is it me, or does it seem like the general area around here? Maybe I'm wrong if there's a Franklin, Wisconsin native. God help your soul. But also, maybe you can enlighten me on whether or not this area has been long developed, or this is mostly like newer development.
I'm in. So, that's what bothered me. Okay. So, this is currently something, if you know me, I've on a professional level been involved with rugby. In a professional and like personal level, I've been involved with baseball, but like my like non-professional like passion sport is racing and NASCAR. And there are a lot of battles going on around local tracks right now with similar situations. So it really struck a chord with me when the one guy in this article, this one local who was passionate about to show up in this article and say, I just don't know what the impact's going to be. I don't know. What do you say? Our backyard is our sanctuary, and that's been taken away from us for the last 6 or 7 years, says Dale Kerner. Okay, Dale. So did you prefer the before time with this? The before, when it was the Crystal Ridge landfill, which has so much pollution in it that in 1994 it was estimated that there were 840,000 barrels of toxic waste dumped there? Was that what you preferred? When in 1994, this was sparked by a residential neighbor having their house light on fire from the waste situation? Is that what you preferred? Because you're talking about it like this was within the gates of heaven, when you, sir, live next to a toxic landfill. So maybe you just like to hear your own voice sometimes, which is ironic because I bet it's above 55 decibels, right? What else stuck out to me from the long list of EPA complaints about that sanctuary that was right next to a landfill? As background, it was to help you understand the size, extent of waste mass, and nature of the filled site. There's a link. There's an aerial view of this thing, and it is like got to be 15 times the size of the baseball fields on it right now on this landfill. There's articles from 1976 discussing a methane gas explosion in the home of another neighbor. I think that was the one in 1974. Because like methane gas had gotten into like groundwater and then made its way into residential houses. In 1996, there was a Franklin family that experienced a methane incursion to their home in 1996. That sounds like a neighbor. It sounds like, boy, right into your sanctuary, my guy. A letter describing the discovery of a series of gas pockets between 63.5 and 83.5 feet underground, located near the intersection of Crystal Ridge Road and Rawson Ave. Boy, it took 18 hours of unrestricted venting to empty that. So, the 12 EPA write-ups, which one of these sounds like a sanctuary? Because for me, it sounds like you might want to really take a deep breath, which you certainly can while you're not next to one of these gas releases, and really think hard about shutting them up, potentially.
Right, you don't understand. My neighbor's house catching on fire is preferable to having to hear like the charge horn again. It's 9:30. I want to watch Columbo outside by my fire pit and then go inside and go to bed.
And and here's my thing. I'm just trying to do the basic math. No, I won't even do the basic math. 17. All right, so we're looking at probably, let's keep the math rolling on that, 34, 35 night games.
Yeah, about that.
So if time's the issue, 35 nights during the
35 summer. Nights I can enjoy my outdoor sanctuary, Ryan. It's Wisconsin. We're honest, hardworking people that don't have much daylight or warmth, and we want to enjoy our yards in the summer.
Don't get me wrong. I loved this guy in that 70s show. He was great. But it's just...
Talking bad about Bob Pinciotti.
Fireworks really not the problem. Sure. It sounds like they keep finding different things to complain about. I'm not saying the ownership is right. I'm not saying the ownership is great. Actually, I smell something around that ownership, if we're being really honest about it. But I think this is a series of neighbors who just can't deal. Maybe wants to look up Dana Gint, the other person that is profiled in the one article. I mean, we all know Dana Gint. We all do.
We all know a Dana Gint, yes.
But you know a Dana Gint for sure.
She probably runs your local PTA.
These are a series of people who need a hobby.
Yeah.
And I'm not one to side with ownership here. I'm not a shill.
It's a lot of people that just don't want anything built there. It's just
exactly.
These are the kind of people here, and it reminds me a little bit of like the Go hockey realm, like the Tempe voters when it came to the Arizona Stadium, when they were going to do the same thing with their landfill and build a whole sport entertainment complex on it. And the voters struck that down because they didn't want to pay to remediate the dump. And they were believing like, oh, well, we'll get like parks and stuff there instead. And it's like, that's not going to happen. It's not. You're getting rid of a toxic landfill. Now, yes, there's going to be more traffic in your backyard, but you will no longer have poison flowing into your neighborhood. That's a good trade. Not good enough.
Not good enough. I want all of it.
It's really what it is. That's the honest thing. Just from reading the one article I came across with, it's a lot of people that want their cake and eat it too. And the thing is, as I was getting to before we got into the EPA violations, which is not a sentence I ever thought I would say on this show, but here we are.
Welcome to it.
Yeah, if these are some newer houses, then or you're a newer resident, I really have zero sympathy for you. You knew that you were moving into a neighborhood with a ballpark in it where development was occurring. And I would assume if you're buying a house there sometime in the last probably 7 or so years since construction started and then was completed and now is here on this, you would have thought before making a several hundreds of thousands of dollar investment in the form of buying a property there, you would look into what's happening in the neighborhood. That just seems like common sense to me. That you wouldn't just say, ooh, we'll spend $400,000 on this house without doing any research whatsoever. So I have no real sympathy on that front. I have a little bit more for, say, some older residents that have been there for a while. But at the end of the day, on paper, it's a net positive to build here. Like, I don't.
It looks like this guy has been there since 93, which still, that was in the heart of like working out EPA issues. So it's also like, dude, you've seen the worst of this. Also, not like it was really cleaned up, by the way. It was like kind of contained lightly. Other than that, dude, since 2019, well, look, there's inflation, obviously. Controversial take, but call 2021, the estimate on this house value is almost up $200,000. So it's not exactly hurting your property value, my guy. So you can also buy your sanctuary somewhere else, maybe.
And it's not exactly like it's a tough market to sell a house. And you know what the best part is? Now that you have the ballpark in your backyard, if you go over there, you probably have a realtor playing that game. So you could sell the house easy.
That's funny as hell. That's good. Good work by you, Nick. the ballpark is not much closer than the golf course that's on the other side. And like, golf courses aren't quiet. Like,
yeah.
I mean, hell, a driver hitting a ball is 120 decibels, not to mention all the bright and early, the lawn equipment going.
Oh, yeah. That's the thing. And I'd argue there's just as much traffic more frequently during the summer. Sounds like to me he uses the golf course a little bit more than he uses the ballpark.
I don't know. I think he's not going to say anything I was going to say. Nope. I'll do the editing on this one, my guy.
Yeah, it just feels like such an odd line to draw. 55 is way too low on it. You live in a development area. It's helped your property value. If you don't like it, you're free to leave. But reality-wise, you're dealing with this for maybe 15 nights a month for what, May, June, July, and August?
Not even that many.
All right. June, July,
maybe
August.
10. I was going to say maybe 10 a month.
Even better. So it's just like basically a week a month when you get down to it. Somewhere between a week to 2 weeks a month for 4 months. This is a non-issue.
Yeah, bro. I don't know.
Now that we've left that EPA segment behind, are we free to move on to other topics?
I'll allow it.
How nice of you to allow me to move on to other things on my show. Well, why don't we talk about our favorite California team, the Oakland Ballers?
Great.
Because they want to buy some seats from like O.Co Coliseum that were for the Raiders. They're only pay $45 a seat.
You go. Just go. Go ahead.
Yeah. They're willing to pay up to $45 a seat. They want to buy up to 5,000 seats, which I don't even know if Ramundi can hold 5,000 people, even whatever way they plan to configure this. And part of the reason they want it is, again, hammering home that Oakland connection, which I get it, guys. And I know you preach a lot about, the connection, and we talk a lot about how, like, oh, you got to connect your market and everything. But, like, there's too much of a good thing, right? Like, we could calm it down a little bit here. And I don't think anyone really wants Oakland Coliseum seats. Although then again, metal bleachers is probably not any better.
I don't know. I know 10 people probably with vet stadium seats in their house. So
yeah, but maybe. How often are they using that as a real seat?
Yeah, true. And also, I mean, these are just sitting out in the damn parking lot, apparently. So
we have any other thoughts on Oakland here? Or you have any thoughts on Oakland?
Yeah, business as usual. I mean, I emailed you today. I was like,
yeah,
basically to clean it up so you don't have to edit something else. Why is this a press release? Other than to be like, yeah, look what we're doing. We love Oakland and they don't. Like, shut up. Shut up. Focus on yourself, dude. Like, it kills me. Like,
Ryan, what about
just
Oakland?
Be a baseball team, man.
But what about Oakland, Ryan?
I'm so tired of it. Like,
what about the land, Ryan? The city of 1,000 oaks.
Talk about, by the way, look at us going from one story about a landfill that had toxic waste to another one that had to get dirt removed because of toxic waste. We are really on a pace to start this episode. So I'll be a little more positive as this rolls on. I'm excited to talk about football.
It might as well be a Britney Spears podcast. We're toxic.
Buddy, what a jam.
We are rocking today.
And like we've talked about before, it's sorry for the negativity. We just want this. We are annoyed that this is such a circus. It is again running around yelling, look at me. This is the influencer in the natural disaster with a selfie stick in one hand and I'm not going to say what's in the other, but you can use your own example. It is doing nothing other than acting like they're doing everything. It's shut up and just execute properly. Because guess what, friends? We have to this point been saying, man, this looks concerning. but like we don't really hear anything from the inside. But it just looks concerning. They're in camp now, and guess what? I'm not going to burn anybody because boys need some jobs, but it's concerning.
What does the projection say?
We'll get to that.
Kowalski analysis.
The analysis is they have not that many guys in camp to be having 4 of them independently in my DMs going, you'll never believe this. That's what I'll say. So yeah, that is why I want to hear a little less about the stadium seats. I want to hear a little. What I got from this is we're bothering another team instead of worrying about our own.
But it's so much easier to bother people than build your own.
Eyes on your own paper.
Do I have to get the privacy folders out?
Seriously. Stop looking at them. You are a team who has never played a game and is in a public park. Their Major League Baseball team, currently beating the Houston Astros, who has not one but 2 Major League stadiums apparently in the works. And they're choosing to piece out on one of them. So stop acting like you are some sort of competition with them. Be a good Pioneer League team and worry about your fans and stop this nonsense. Sorry, it's so frustrating.
But they're for Oakland, Ryan. They do care about the fans. Have you not watched every piece of media?
For Oakland, so is a failing economy. It doesn't mean it's a good thing. Not everything that has been needs to remain. Let's start something different.
Just because the parking lot they plan to use on game day looks like the same gravel pit that Cricket got shot in does not mean they're not ready to be for Oakland.
Good. That's good.
I'm on fire today.
Oh, man, dude. Like, this is going to get more positive as we go. Because, again, I'm more excited than anything to talk ball today. But,
yeah.
It's just like,
what we're talking ball is
that's where I'm really on edge, too, is where I'm like, now, if we're having to talk about this in the offseason, that's one thing. I got baseball to talk about now. And now I have to talk about your press release about stadium seats. Get out. Like, what are we talking about? You're on Speak When Spoken to notice now, Oakland. What are we talking about?
Well, yeah, let's see if they wind up getting, I guess, now 5-year-old stadium seats. So that way they can have 6-year-old stadium seats replace the metal bleachers they have.
Well, the good news is they're barely used.
Barely used since 2019. Right. Please read the release. It implies they were used heavily prior to that. Again, the last point I'll have on Oakland is just, I am again curious how they plan to do all these wonderful upgrades, put all this money in and build what's a real professional baseball stadium in a city park without restricting access to said city park heavily.
And my points of clarity are like, okay, so we are fully in then on not turning a profit here. I mean, that has to be the case. There's no way. With the infrastructure money, with the permitting money, with the buy-in for 2 teams in this league, for the fact that I ain't seen anybody buying YOLO tickets. And that's fine, by the way. I spoke on last week how much I like YOLO as an organization. I think they have potential. It's a shame that they're wrapped up in all this.
You get your YOLO hat yet?
It is the concern that I'm willing to throw these out there, that people have been asked to participate in a documentary, that the documentary is likely by what's-his-face, Brian, the other one, the other snake owner.
Brian Cameron?
Yeah, that one. Seems to be working on some sort of documentary, very likely some sort of hit piece on the Oakland A's. Very likely the Oakland Ballers is going to be a very convenient tool within that documentary. The only deal that Oakland has signed with the Pioneer League is a 1-year deal.
SpaghettiOs. That can be a problem. $36 for a hat.
Talk about that for buy-in there, guys. Talk about the commitment to Oakland. Okay. Yeah, you have a 1-year deal. So maybe focus on executing that. Yeah. Sorry. I'm so tired of Oakland Ballers talk, bro. I need it to stop. I'm at my breaking point here.
So what you're saying is any more Oakland Bees talk would sting you.
Hate it here. We're so screwed.
Yeah. I like how during that little bit of a rant, I was just listing out the prices for YOLO High Wheelers merchandise.
I mean, I'm close to getting a shirt. I like YOLO. I'm probably almost
shirt or
I'm
hat?
probably going to become a YOLO fan in half because, being a YOLO fan's a vibe, and also half because, like, almost as a middle finger to Oakland. But that's not where I'm at. I'm not that mad at it. I want the team to succeed.
Big time hater energy. I respect it.
I do. I'm just like, I'm not even a hater on like Charleston, and we all know the situation there. I wasn't one on Lexington. I was still rooting for good things for Lexington, but even before the interchange, like, you have to push me so far. I'm rooting for New Jersey still. I am rooting for. You have to push me so far to the brink for me to be like, if this works out for you, I still won't believe it. And that's where I'm at with them. And that's where we circle back into last week's conversation. I want to step away from
because they messed with baseball season. Now you're pissed.
I am, dude. Just don't mess with the baseball, bro.
So we'll watch Oakland continue. We'll see if Ryan continues to get stung by the bees or if they just happen to go away. We'll keep on the Pioneer League topic by going to one last bit of news from the Pioneer League this week. Major League Baseball extended their commitment to the Pioneer League through the 2028 season. I assume it just will mean business as usual. And the long and short of it is, I think they still get their alimony check from Major League Baseball in exchange for something, probably keeping them from being able to be sued for antitrust violation or something along those lines.
Yeah, which they should be, to be clear. And I will not rest until it happens, but it's fine.
Gonna live forever, huh? Hate really does drive you.
Dude, so much. I have so many graves left to pee on, my guy.
Oh, God. Yeah, So any thoughts on this extension here?
Not really. We just don't know enough of the details to really make much of it,
Yeah.
We know our general feelings on the partner league thing, but this has always felt like that isn't what this is. This is something more based on the prior relationship between the Pioneer League and Major League Baseball. So I don't know, man. I'm tempted to think it's probably good. If there's funding in it, it's probably fine. Major League Baseball is a monopoly and should be torn down, but it's neither here nor there. You weren't trying to get a job with any teams, were you?
Oh, I gave up on that a long time ago.
Yeah, right about last June, huh?
Yeah, right around Memorial Day last year. I see why Will left now.
Are we going out for our anniversary or something?
Oh, babe.
Babe. We're so screwed. Anyway.
So let's talk about actual baseball. Wouldn't that be nice?
Sure.
Want to start in the Atlantic League?
Yeah, man. How about the rise and fall of Charleston here?
Yeah, no, it's 3 in a row they've lost, but they're still in first place by a game.
I know. They went 2 out of 3 High Point, 2 out of 3 Gastonia. 6 in a row on Lexington, who still has not won a home game this year.
Good for them. That's good for morale.
Just got sunned by Gastonia. Though I will say they did lose a lot of players to MLB contract purchases.
That's exactly where I was going to go. When you lose 7 guys in 1 week.
I know. And then they had to turn, and then they got real lucky. They played Lexington. We talked about that last week. Great timing for that series. But then after that, it was, I just had not seen them make those additions. There's just not that type of free agency out there right now. And yeah, dude, this is a bad time to hit Gastonia, man. That was
Gastonia, the High Point, nonetheless.
Yeah, dude, that's gonna be interesting. They gotta figure something out by this High Point series. I think they will. I think they'll find a way to get 2 out of 3 from High Point, but this was rough.
I think I went out of 3. I don't think I went 2 out of 3 here.
I think their pitching lines up better. That's all.
I don't know. I just think more complete teams can outlast them.
All right, we'll see how this. We'll revisit.
Can we talk about Clint Frazier being in this league now?
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, that's a nice get. Also, he fits the Atlantic League type.
I met a good number of prospects working in baseball. Clint Frazier stands out as being very, very nice. So I'm glad to see him getting opportunities.
Oh, well, he only got dragged to the New York media, so, you know.
I know. I hope that didn't break him, but it sounds like he's still a nice dude. But I was like, it actually stood out in my head. Like I was kind of taken aback by how nice he was. Like, and we're not talking to like, you know, player development people. I'm talking like to the interns who walk through and like get in your way while you're trying to just get your socks out of laundry. Like, literally, that's a very specific example for a reason.
Oh, he was like, nice to the Bucks.
He was just, I was impressed, and I'm hoping he finds success here and it can kind of launch him in a more positive direction that wasn't based with New York media.
So outside Charleston, we have anything else of interest we're looking at here?
Staten Island, kidding me? Staten Island running.
They are,
and Hagerstown absolutely getting kicked in the wiener, but like that's whatever. That's a new team thing. I'm not going to pick on them. Hagerstown, and by the way, I was impressed. I've had a couple good crowds. Their Hagerstown, it looks good so far, like as an organization. As a team, not really.
More important ways off the field this year.
Yeah, I very much so. And I think that's really great. I also think Staten Island is quite good. And also the Atlantic League North is not very good. Though Long Island is heating up too. So this could be a little battle up in New York, man. I'm kind of into it. I
mean, Scantland and Motter are really driving that ship. Johnson's not bad either. But those are really the big three I'm looking at here. Getting some offense from the catcher position is always nice whenever you get that. So that's certainly positive, although there's apparently no defensive catchers left in the Atlantic League. So that's good to know.
Yeah, buddy. Nobody's throwing anybody out. It's a bit of a thing.
Terrible.
Whole squad running. It is a jailbreak between first and second.
Chris Capuano's balling too. Love Chris Capuano. What a pitcher.
Yeah, agreed.
Highly underrated. How old is Capuano? I'm curious to see.
I should know that, and I don't actually.
He is only 26. Will be 27 in July. I think he's still worth a shot.
I am 26, going on 27. Sorry.
That Marg is really doing some work today.
It is utter exhaustion and just praying to God the Oakland conversation will circle back around.
Hey, Utter. Another cow joke.
Nice.
Keep it moving.
Moving on to the next conversation about Gates. I don't think anyone's listening.
Yeah, overall, point, right? The bullpen.
We're done. We're clear.
Yeah, the bullpen's doing good for the Fairy Hawks too. Overall, I'm liking this team. Who would have guessed it? You finally get some stability in there, and they become good.
Gabriel Cancel is nasty, by the way. That was the one I was looking at the other day.
Is it cancel or cancel?
You know, probably can't sell, but we're in this. I hit like 5 American Association names incorrectly the other day that I knew, and I don't know what it was. It was just my brain just shut it off when I was reading. I was like, okay, put a mic in front of me. I'm like, what's pronunciation? And then looking back,
I like how you keep calling Chris Valvont Chase.
Do I?
Yeah. You've done it 2 videos now. The last one was a special guy because you're like, Chase Valvont, he came back. I got to see him back here, but he's just killing it. Chase, I must have Chase Cisco in my head for some reason. It's only Chase. Yeah, but like I'm very intentional about making sure I get that right, the Chase Chance thing. And then because I said Chase once. And then I was like, oh, can't do that. So I'm wondering if that just throw me off on a bunch of names there. Okay, well, it could be. But yeah, I noticed you did. I was like, that's the second time he's done this.
Damn. Dude, I'm like being less hard on myself on this stuff because it is finally occurring to me this year that like I'm like we're in depth covering like almost 2 major leagues, except we have like very little publicly available information about any of these players.
Imagine covering Major League Baseball back when it's really the AL and the NL, and there was just no statistics. You just had to find it.
Kevin Watson. That's it. Kevin Watson on Wednesday night. 3 for 5 with 9 RBI.
Nice.
That's a night. That'll help out the stat line.
Yeah, so stat line's been cooking. We have any other thoughts here? Because we do have 2 other leagues we want to get to, and I'm not sure if you want to discuss potential York-Lancaster beef.
I'll skip over that.
Bring the beef. There's a cow in the Lancaster logo. How could there not be beef?
Here's what I'm interested in. We've had 1 6-game home and home series already this year in the Atlantic League. Yes. Lexington took all 6 from Charleston.
Yes.
Actually, no, there was a 6-gamer with High Point in Southern Maryland. They split that as 3-3.
Of course. How can we forget?
Staten Island's up 3-0 on Hagerstown. They're going back to Staten Island to play 3 more. Do you think Staten Island closes this out with 6, or does Hagerstown get 1?
They get 1. I think it's hard to close it out that much.
I do agree. I think they do get 1. Okay.
Sweeps are very difficult in sports. It's just odd happenstance. Only gets at least 1.
Yeah, that's fair. All right. I'm content with that answer. I'll let you go with that.
Okay, very good. So we could keep going in this and just say we can say more negative stuff about the fact the Legends only have 4 wins through 20 games.
Yeah, we could. I mean,
or we could just leave that pin in that grenade.
I just kind of, I mean, I said it on my last pod too. Like, who could have guessed other than, everybody? Like, this was not a good team. They seem, I don't know.
Maybe they just threw harder.
They're having some wins, as an organization. So that's good.
Namely, not being owned by bad ownership.
Frankly, if I wanted to be harsh on something, it might be Gastonia's attendance still being bottom of the barrel.
Go get him, Brady. He's the one who said it.
Big Dog can count to 40. I'm kidding. It's not that bad. No, it's just too easy.
It's not a Jackal game, for Christ's sake.
Dude, it's not a knockouts game. That's the attendance race. That's the attendance race right now is Jackals versus knockouts. I mean actual attendance, not reported attendance. Because the knockout said 300 something the other night. I know that ain't the case, dude. I could count that. So I
know people that there for opening night for that was a low number.
You and me both, dude. And I got to go back to the live streams and start counting to keep accountability because this is interesting, dude.
Knockouts are at least smart enough not to film their crowd.
Oh yeah, I know. I almost reposted that one video. I know you and I are thinking about the same one. I bet and almost said like, oh, it's showing that one angle that doesn't have crowd, empty seats in it season.
Oh God, I cringe so damn hard every time.
Dude, it's brutal. It's brutal in every instance currently. Well, God, I don't know if you're trying to move on to this or not, but it is.
In fairness, let's just transition right into Frontier League talk. In fairness, the New England Knockouts, averaging 525 a game through 5 home games, are still averaging a higher attendance than 5 other teams: Gateway, Ottawa, Quebec, Tri-City, and 3 Rivers. What do those 5 teams all have in common?
I would say they've had rainouts and doubleheaders.
They haven't played a home game yet.
Oh, brutal. Okay.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, I mean, if they're beating teams, it's because they've had like doubleheaders and rainouts and whatnot. I think it's. I mean, I'll say it. They're nowhere near that reported attendance.
Oh, well, yeah.
Nowhere near. It's not. With staff, they're not touching 100. It looks like they might have on game 1, but like, there's no way. And I'm going somewhere with this. This isn't just complaining for no reason. Because
go somewhere with this, so that way I can undermine it.
This is a bigger conversation, which is what is the Frontier League doing? Like, talk about not having a strategy or a standard. Like, you have New Jersey, and the mess is New Jersey, where they just had a canceled game, which they only posted, I think, on Instagram about the postponement the day before it happened. And then I think it was the Monday game. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it was Tuesday, and it was if I'm not mistaken,
right, it was
Tuesday, and it was because it was a New Jersey high school baseball tournament.
Yeah. So which surprise, I guess. So they just announced that the day before, and then they like delete the post after, like, because they're super embarrassed about it or whatever. They didn't even give a reason in the thing. Like, it's
they had to postpone it.
It's ridiculous.
Which, in fairness, at first I thought it was because Bert was in North Carolina because his wife was doing something with the fire department. I think she got like officially part of it, but Yeah, then I was like, oh, wait, no, there's a high school tournament here. So that worked out for him, though.
Which I'm also like, did Bert know in advance? Like, do they know this prior and they just didn't announce it?
Yeah. So,
like,
not good, boys.
It's so amateur, dude. And
you mean to tell me this doesn't look good?
And the mess that is New England, man. I don't know. I don't even know how to talk about it. It's like, because it's still early, so I don't want to like put it on them and like, I don't know.
I do
in
have
my mind. I'm like, that organization's cooked.
So here is part of what I heard from one of the people at that first game. I may be doxing them because there weren't too many people there, but
yeah, right.
Yeah, 20 minutes till first pitch. Few fans, one concession stand open. No different in atmosphere from FCBL Rock. So this is the Brockton Rock Future Collegiate League team. No programs. One staff member mentioned that they were sent to the printer, but there was a problem, so they'll be forthcoming at a future date. No player hats, just some t-shirts and sweatshirts. Pretty underwhelming so far. Seems like there's little to no visible staff. Not a great first impression. Likewise, after reported attendance, this is reported attendance of 1270 on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday saw 392 and 312 respectively.
There's no way.
Yeah. I will say they also then followed up by, is there any precedent of the Frontier League stepping in?
Which I want to say no.
Yeah.
I mean, this does feel worse than the Jackals, though. The Jackals have like an active, ongoing strategy. This feels like an afterthought, right? This feels like
this feels
like
the GMs, thought, and I got one.
Except not that bad. I don't say that to like throw the GMs in. I'm saying it as like the limited staff. Like even if the buy-in is there, it's like just the trouble scheduling and also like getting like energy out of a staff that already has one team to work games for. Like it just feels like this is not a priority to that front office.
What's odd is too, it's just two different ownership groups in that stadium.
It is two different ones, right?
Yeah, I believe so. Yes.
Interesting. So like, weird.
Yeah, the difference here to me is the Jackals. I hate to cut them more slack than they deserve, but that said, last year was a hectic year. They knew they were going to Hinchcliffe, but you had a whole different sort of issue. It didn't really seem like they had a cohesive leadership plan, and it was kind of all over the map, and you're fighting a lot of different things, and their owner didn't make it any better with the statements he was putting out, and, it was hectic all the way around, right? Then they went into the offseason and said, we can't have another year like that. It needs to improve. They got a guy who seems like his specialty is attendance and getting asses in seats. And already off the bat, they've been more active in the community. They seemingly have gotten better attendance. They said they sold 6,000. There definitely wasn't 6,000 on opening day, but it was probably still one of, if not the largest crowd they had, which is still encouraging, mind you. And we could talk about sold tickets versus giveaway tickets. Our philosophy is pretty much the same, which is doesn't matter. They're still in the ballpark, and the money you're making is off of concessions and merchandising. That's your real big money, and putting on the experience to make them come back. So if you got to eat some tickets here and there, who gives a damn? But there's at least tangible steps of improvement, and they were tossed into a situation that was a bit in flux. So you cut them a bit of a break on that front there.
Right.
With this, it's a different situation where you were starting from scratch. You announced in September, had, what would that be, about 8 months to pretty much put it all together. You already had one ownership group that runs a rather unsuccessful team in the league because it's Windy City ownership group. Then you had to get rid of your GM or president or whatever the Rossier was. For whatever reason, he left or he was fired or whatever happened there. He was gone. And now, what was it, 2 months, 3 months before opening day? You had to get a new guy in there with new leadership, put it all together. And it seems like everybody's just kind of flying blind and piecing it together here. And we've already, when we did the Frontier League preview 2 weeks ago, we asked the question of like, hey, Windy City doesn't really have, an experienced roster, and they're kind of always at the bottom, and there's not too many, notable guys here. Yeah, is this a situation where we're just not spending the cap? And if we're doing that every year, it's either, do you not care, or are we saving money?
Mm-hmm.
And so if we already have one group that's saving money, presumably finding a second team would cost you more money. So
Right.
how much more money do you have to save here? If you're already on a shoestring budget for one, why do you have two teams on a shoestring, right? Like, that's not going to work out in the long run. And, just conspiracy theory time here. I almost wonder, it's like, okay, you have obviously coalitions among owners in the league of 16 teams. Now, granted, some groups own multiple. I almost wonder if some of the older ownership or guys that are more Western are like, okay, we got to band together here. Let me get another team so I get another say in it. Because the only other guy that owns two is in the East, and he's making some big plays and talking about let's get to 20. And it's like, we're not in a great spot here as it is. So I almost wonder if it's just like, let's level out the power structure here. Kind of move to put New England in there. But regardless of that, it doesn't change the fact of 5 games in, you're averaging under 600 people a game. That's a problem. That's from report attendance. That's when you lie on that. Mm-hmm. Even let's say it's not bad lie, it's only an extra 10%. Like, okay. So your real number is under 500 then. Because it was what, 524?
It's so under 500, dude. It's so under 500.
Yeah.
My ballpark estimate was, like 100.
And like, I kind of understand it because it is still early in the year. You're not in the summer yet. The weather's been on and
cold.
off.
It's way up there. I get that.
Yeah, you're still probably just in 60, so it's not the most pleasant thing here. You have Celtic postseason, Bruins postseason. You have the Red Sox still on. You have AAA kicking up there. You have a lot of other things going on. I get it. But like, at a certain point here, like, what are we doing? And we have criticized them in the past for like, you guys really didn't market at all. You didn't really, You weren't active online. I didn't hear anyone saying they were active in the immediate area either. You didn't seem to do too much here. You didn't bring in any like big personalities to help you out. So it seems like you just kind of were like, get a team, we'll figure it out later. And we have yet to figure it out. So hopefully later comes sooner, but it's getting late early.
Just about all the like community stuff I saw posted with them also had like the Brockton, like the Rocks mascot. And that's where I'm like, do people even get it that there's a second team? Like, I don't know. There's such an explanation that has to be made. You need so much communication to explain that there are two teams now. Come see us. And it's like, I don't know. And like, I don't think Brockton, I don't know. Dude, this has been a bad idea. It's just such a bad, and it requires so much work and so much execution, and I'm just not seeing any of it. It's so weird. I don't know how it gets to this point. Like, how does it get this bad?
Honestly, just negligence.
I saw the inside of Lexington, and I'm like, how does it get this bad?
ER doctor says, worst crash he's ever seen.
Honestly.
But yeah, honestly, it really does feel like they said, we just need the second franchise so that way we level the scales. That's what it genuinely feels like. And I hope that's not the case, but it feels that way.
Yeah. I have no idea what to even do with this. It's like, because it's not even like the Rocks are that successful. I don't understand how this was ever going to work. I don't understand what's been done to make it work. I
don't know why this market.
Like, why this market? Yes, great question, dude.
Like, at first, like on its surface, like when it's just us spitballing stuff, I get Brockton, former indie market, larger regional city. you could draw in a lot from it. I get that on its surface, they have a ballpark, which is probably the biggest thing.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same point in time, and also it's in the geographical area you'd want it to be in if you're going to eventually try to do 4 divisions of 4 or 4 divisions of 5 eventually. It definitely makes sense. You could lump stuff together there and make it work. But at the same point in time, it's like, but you had to have done more due diligence than that, right?
Yeah, like what league would sign up for this?
I don't know. And
unless, of course, the sale job was really on from the owners of the team. But why would that be the case? Because it's not like they're making money. They had to buy in. And basic math is going to say that ballpark probably costs at least 20 to 25, 20, call 20 grand with what they have open inside of it a night to have open. Maybe could be down to 15, but
yeah,
hell, could be 10. That still requires basic math, 1,000 ticket sales. That's not going to do it.
I'm trying to think. How much do you think the nightly operational costs?
Oh God. I have to look at it again. Lexington, for context, costs about 30 to run. So pare it down.
That was nightly, or
wise? Yeah, nightly.
Okay. So just for scale 20.
I would say if you're really trying, you'll probably bring it down to 10, but it's probably about 15. 15 to 10. Still need the lights. Lights are expensive. Lights are big expense. But it doesn't sound like they have any staff. You know what I mean? It's not like they're paying a bunch of people to work there, apparently.
I'm trying to think, if you have 3,000 fans a game, you should be turning profit. But they're nowhere near that number, obviously. So
yes, exactly.
So I'm trying to think, at the 500 fans a game, if they're being honest with themselves there, how much money you got to spend individually for that to break even? About 30, 35 bucks?
Probably. And I just don't know. I have no idea.
That's a big ask for people because you figure, let's really get into the weeds on this ballpark dynamic before we talk baseball itself. How much do we think on average a person spends when they walk through the door? Before, it will include ticket because ticket is part of the thing here. So probably 15 for the ticket.
Yeah, I mean, I think it would probably cost you about one person with the ticket, probably 35 to 40.
Yeah.
But that's if there's somebody there to serve you the food that you're trying to spend money on. Which seems to be another holdup.
Yeah, because that's the thing. With only 500 people there, you're really banking on people going all out. But the thing is, they haven't invested in the experience either, so you're not getting any word of mouth.
And that's the big thing. You're not telling anybody to go back there.
It seems like a very big, it was a night out or something to do, which is the furthest thing.
All that, yeah.
If I got tickets for free, I may go back again, but I would make a point to try and get back there.
And the people you're getting are the people who are curious, in which case you're not putting on a great entertainment product. They're But I think sometimes people take for granted the people who are baseball people. They'll come either way. And I don't know, man. If I'm not,
they will.
If I'm not covering the teams, if we're not talking any ball teams, if I go and I'm damn, this is, if it's a bad product, that's one thing. But if I'm getting no effort, if I'm oh, I care as much as the staff cares, and that's not a compliment, then that's where I start to be I don't need to come back here. I don't need to spend my money here.
Yeah.
And it's not like there's a shortage of teams in Massachusetts.
That's the thing. It's you're in the same state as the most famous summer college league. You're in the same state as one of the most famous baseball teams on the planet. There's a plethora of other options.
Yeah, dude.
And that's before you start to actually factor in other actual entertainment options.
Yeah.
Because Lord knows New England's not short on them.
Yeah, man. They're dunking everywhere. You just go sit in them.
Who knows? Maybe see Ben Affleck.
Yeah, that is entertainment, isn't it? Go see Ben Affleck at a Dunkin'. Thank you for letting us stereotype Massachusetts. We haven't done it to Massachusetts in a while, so feels good.
We're gonna dunk on them.
Go back, baby.
So, unless we want to further knock them down, are we done with the knockouts?
I don't want to just knock them down. Shut up. But it's just like
at the desk.
It's notable because I'm trying to figure out. I like the Frontier League. I'm like, what is? Are you okay? Blink twice. Like, what is going on? How did you let this happen to you? Like,
I would never thought you would have turned to drugs.
It does have this. Like, I feel like we need to have an intervention.
Here's the thing with the Frontier League. I really do think there's a handful of people that really are trying to push something, and it's just like we are not there. And I really hope it's not the Can-Am people because it's like, with the exception of like maybe two of you, I don't trust you.
Yeah.
And even one of the two I trust, I don't trust to run social media.
Oh my God.
Kids never put emojis in injury tweets. It's dumb, it's weird, and it comes across as a joke and unprofessional. And then especially don't go into one of the organizations your team considers media DMs and then bitch to them about calling it an odd tweet. Yeah, I'm still annoyed by that.
Yeah, it was just a bad tweet, dude. It's just, I mean, I'm convinced at this point they're trolling, but like,
gotta be.
I don't. Yeah, it's just still a bad tweet. Like,
but it had 6,100 impressions, and that's real analytics. Unlike 38 votes in a poll.
Yeah, impressions aren't analytics. Impressions are people who scroll past it. So tough one on that one. Okay. There's somebody who works actually professionally and not as an intern in social media. I can tell you that. Ooh, I just flexed it. Is that a flex? Is that cool? Does that make me valid? I don't think it does.
In the right community, I guess.
Sure. Note, I mean, I put up a poll about it. About like whether it was a bad tweet or not, and like it was overwhelmingly yes, and a lot of that feedback was from players and coaches and baseball operations people. So like I don't know what this dude is thinking. Or woman. A woman can have a bad tweet too.
So the Frontier League.
Yes, sir. This podcast is terrible.
It is. This is going to be my magnum opus come editing time.
Interesting. I wouldn't have used magnum opus that way, but you got to get through what you got to get through, man. I get you.
Schaumburg and Lake Erie both have 5-game winning streaks.
Yes, they do. And Lake Erie, yeah, man, getting it over Joliet too. Interesting.
Nice little bit here. I know from what you said on that Frontier League preview, the one you put up on your page. Yeah, is it that surprising?
Yeah. So there is no Frontier League preview on my page for those of you who are like, huh, what? It'll get there probably eventually.
Why'd you put this up on Friday now?
Honestly, just to screw you. Yeah, honestly, that feels like my vibe, right?
It does. Very much.
I don't. I mean, my thought is I've had the feel that Joliet might start slow and then pick up. So I mean, they've started slow.
Step one accomplished.
So far, so good. Kind of killing it. Not gonna lie. Yeah, dude. I don't know. I don't have a ton of confidence in Lake Erie, but they handle business against a team that they need to handle business against. So I'll shout them out there. Other than I don't have a ton to say on that specific series.
Again, so the problem is like 7 games in, it's really hard to say anything.
Right.
So like I kind of want to go off and be like, oh, we got Florence. They're right in the thick of things. And it's like, well, they're 4-2. So like,
right. It's just about everyone is except for the obvious.
Who are the obvious people?
I mean, New England. Really?
Oh, I thought you were talking about Evansville, who's 2-4.
No, that's kind of a weird one. What do you make of that? I mean, they just got to win, but that looked a lot worse than a 1-5. I'll tell you that much.
Fair enough. I don't really know what to make of it. They had that weird one-off game for an opener, and then it kind of...
Yeah, it was weird. Hated that.
Not doing good against Windy City is a little concerning, not going to lie, but.
Yeah, because I didn't have Windy City as really good. That was the big concern I had for New England, was the fact that they got like worked
the
by
budget
Ottawa.
ballers. We don't need to see you struggle against them.
Yeah, I mean, they got worked by Ottawa in that first series. Like, yeah, they won game 1, but like, coolsies. Yeah, that works.
Oh, my mistake. Evansville did only play them for one game. Only one game. And there was a rain play in the middle of it. So I thought they played them for a 3 game, not a 1 game.
Jackals are 3-2.
That's interesting, but also
that was a sweep in the doubleheader today, which kind of adds a little bit of an asterisk on that. Yeah.
Yeah. Quebec today traded 7-2 wins with the Miners, so that's interesting.
What was it? Was it the Schaumburg series? The first one, I'm just double check my scores here, which is not a smooth operation on my end. Yeah, they won 6-3, 6-3, 6-3 in the first series. Like, all right, that's consistent.
Yeah. Tri-City so far.
Last time I've seen that, by the way. That's why it stuck out to me. I'm like, think about it. When was the last time you saw someone rip a team for the same score 3 days in a row?
I don't know.
Right? Yeah. It's kind of crazier than, like, it's easy to breeze over, like, hey, but I'm kind of like, wait, that's weird, dude. Like, to open a season.
Taggart-led Valley Cats are 500. Again, 6 games in, so I don't really care. That's the problem. He was really like, I want to say more, but it's like everything I come back to is, well, 6 games in.
True.
I like Nick Gotta going to New York, though. I think that's a solid pickup.
Yeah.
Obviously, losing Marte for the year is not good.
We got the Jackals and Trois-Rivières at the top of the standings, which I think is fun, and we might not see that again for a while. So I'm kind of like, yeah, let's lean in. I know I'm not helping. I know it's not analysis, but I'm just like, this is almost I'll give you guys a shout out while I have the opportunity to give the shout out, if that makes sense.
Keep going, boys. This might be all you get.
How about it? Well, would you look at that? That's what that was. Would you look at that?
Big happy for you vibes.
Big. Look at you. Oh, that was too patronizing. Didn't quite land that one. Anyway, yeah. I mean, I don't have a ton of thoughts on the Frontier League, mainly because the Frontier League, they're in a weird one where it's only been a week, which the American Association has been too. But like, I felt like there weren't many good Frontier League series. Like, am I crazy? Like,
they do feel a lot like drinking water.
There's a lot of like, who'd you play? Like, or it's 2 teams where, okay, here, I can figure out what I was looking for there. It's either a team got some wins, but it was against a team where it's like, yeah, you better. Like, for instance, Ottawa taking 2 out of 3. It's like, yeah, you better against New England. New England got a win. Well, yeah, you better against Ottawa get one. Or it's like 2 teams are kind of close, but because they're kind of close and we're not sure what to make of them, we didn't really learn anything from them playing each other. Like, it's not like that stretch where Charleston beat Gastonia High Point in the same week, and we're like, oh, okay, so Charleston is for real. They can keep this thing moving. It's like, other than Florence being Quebec, which is kind of interesting, but even Quebec like slow started last year, and they're kind of slow to start this year. But I'm looking at like Gateway Lake Erie is a good example. Windy City, Tri-City. It's like we aren't really sure what to make of either of those teams. So like, I want to react to it, but every reaction feels like an overreaction.
Yeah, it just also too, like, these are series that like they matter for wins and losses, but they don't really matter per se in the long run.
Nothing matters, but jot that down.
Now, your thoughts on the afterworld.
Everything's meaningless, my guy.
Yeah,
that's free you.
But yeah, I feel like it matters a little bit less when it's not in division. I would have liked the first week to be in division and then the last month in division.
Right. Yeah, I agree with you there. I think we talked about that before.
Yeah, it feels like you just go ahead and you add in those like interdivision games later on in the year, and it makes it a little bit more interesting.
Yeah, that's when things start getting a little stagnant. Gives teams a chance to play some different teams and maybe make some changes and catch some teams by add a little intrigue when they get back together. Like, oh, what is this team looking like right now? Like, yeah, I feel you.
Yeah. Only other Frontier League point I really want to mention: Andrew Check going off.
Oh my god, dude! Here, I'll pull those stats back up. He is unreal. And now,
like 37, 38 games in a row with yeah.
Yeah,
like 30 or 37 games where he's reached base, so like just killing it.
Yeah,
batting over 500. I'm disappointed in myself. I missed Thibaut Macadier's first appearance today because he was pitching the second half of a doubleheader in Sussex County, and now he has an ERA of 20.25 with a whip of 3. He pitched an inning and a third. 3 runs, all earned.
Andrew Check through 5 games is slashing 556, 652, 1556 slugging percentage, thanks to his 5 home runs and 3 doubles.
Jesus.
In 23 plate appearances.
Killing it, my guy.
He has as many strikeouts as home runs. Shoboink.
Does he get signed?
I don't know. I think that's real.
The first question that you have to ask to answer that is how old?
Yeah, I mean, what, 27? Maybe.
27 on the Frontier League, though.
Playing first? Probably not.
I could see him. Oh, he's a Coyette Kettleer. Oh, that's always nice to see.
Good, man. I'm happy for insert whatever the hell you just said here.
Coyette Kettleer. Coyette Kettleer. Sounds like a Pokemon.
Okay. I don't know what to do with this.
I could actually see, though, Andrew Check, especially if the season at some point becomes a wash for Washington.
Yeah.
Becomes a Washington season. I could see him getting bumped up to a higher. Yeah, I'm trying to get the head through your desk yet.
I don't see. I could see him making the move over to.
That's where I was getting at. Yeah, I could see him doing something like that, especially to seem like, I don't know, Southern Maryland.
It feels like a Long Island. Oh, okay.
I felt Long Island at first too, because it does feel like that.
Long Island loses someone mid-year. Yeah.
Yeah. He does have like an August Duck vibe, but I also
vibe.
Yeah. But I could also equally see him like, all right, Stan needs a guy. I'll just haul him up and he'll go out and he'll hit like 268 in the Atlantic League, finish with like 3 home runs in 47 games or something like that.
Yeah. I can also see him getting it done up there, but that's a different conversation.
I just question the power numbers is really it.
Yeah, because I mean, this is kind of the first time I've seen that.
Yeah, that's just really my question on it. I think ultimately, Check's very much in that like solid indie ball career path. Maybe get an outside shot like Double-A for a little bit when they need the vet up there.
I mean, that's making a living playing professional baseball, man.
Exactly. There's nothing wrong with it. It's honorable.
Nope.
He had 21 bombs last year too, so
he flashed some.
Yeah. Stay healthy, dude. Get something going.
Keep your limbs attached, my guy.
Very much so. All right, last league. Let's get to the
American not get coaching offers.
I don't know why. American Association. Winnipeg kind of not doing great to start the year.
No, they are not.
Outside the 2 where they just wrung out Cleburne.
Yeah, which is wild. That's the one I don't know what to make of. Like, did Cleburne just straight take their foot off the gas after those first 4?
Possible. I mean,
for those who don't know, Cleburne won 4 in a row, and then in a 6-game set with Winnipeg, and then Winnipeg absolutely just
punked them.
I mean, just beat the hell out of them, dude. It was like what? They outscored them by 19 runs in a series that they lost 2 games to 4.
Yeah, here's part of it is
crazy.
The one game they won 16 zip and they only let up 2 hits. And then the next game they won 9-zip, and they only gave up 3 hits. So in 2 games they gave up 5 hits and no runs. And for the other 4 games in the set, they lost one game 3-5, another game 4-6, another game 4-5, and then another game 1-0.
Yeah,
I believe there was at least 1 walk-off in there. There may have been 2.
Winnipeg. Yeah, I agree. I think they might have been walked off twice.
Which is just bad luck.
That's a tough one. Did you see how Gary went to 0-5? Which they won today, by the way. Shout out.
Yeah, I seen that they're 1-5 now.
They got walked off 2 days in a row.
By Milwaukee?
Like, brutal. Yeah. That's tough, man.
Same score.
Playing Milwaukee's so tough, and just getting walked off at the end is harsh. That was back in the Frontier, though. But I was looking at the Florence and Windy City, I think, had a 0-0 extra inning game. That went, finally someone got a 1-0. And I think someone else played 1-0 at 9, and it was 0-0 into the bottom of the ninth. But refocusing to the American,
yeah, let's talk Gary for a little bit.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I want to talk Gary a little
bit. I was going to shout out real quick.
Yeah.
Did you see a Dockhounds Dogs game today?
I did not, no.
Oh, it was a banger. It was so good. It was like 8-2 Dogs at one point. And then the Dockhounds came back and got them like 10-9. Like, and it was late. It was like the 7th inning when that comeback started.
Josh Altman experience,
and unfortunately a little bit of the Augie Voigt experience on that one.
Ironic,
but we're rooting for him. Yeah, dude. Augie, shoot, tough outing. 1/3 of an inning, 4 hits, 3 runs, all earned.
Yeah. Going back to Gary here.
Yes.
What are we doing about the control issues here? Because we got 29 walks in 6 games.
It's unreal, dude.
I mean,
I'd love to go back and see how many of these guys scored.
Nate Alexander, really, man, like 3 1/3 innings, 6 walks. That's not what we need.
What are you doing?
From a reliever, we can't have that.
Who just got released? Sorry, this is an ADD moment as well.
Yeah, it's just like there's
Yermin Lara got released by Lake Country after he walked 5 guys in an inning and 2/3 and
can't do that.
4 runs. But Yermin Lara, I think, has potential to be gross, so that's interesting to see. But yeah, I don't know. I mean,
they've
also struck out 46 guys in 51 innings, which isn't bad.
So they're just hucking the ball wild, so.
I really haven't noticed that their velo is that good. Who did I see the other day that I really liked? Was it Valdez? I think it was Valdez the other night. Or the other day, I guess it was. Oh no.
Yeah, I'm looking more at Alexander. I'm looking more at Alexander. I'm not going to hate win-loss, but like he's been tagged for the last 3 times.
Yes, that's just tough scene.
You can't be a back end of the bullpen guy and keep getting tagged for this.
I can't keep doing it. Can't keep getting away with it.
Yeah, like at a certain point, something's going to give.
I guess it was Valdez. Interesting.
That, and I get the whole concept of let's save some arms for later in the year, especially with a team that had injury issues last year. But like 4 1/3 and 3 1/3 innings out of your starters are not what you need right now.
Oh, God, no. And I literally said that.
We need to get to 5 innings.
It's like there are not enough starters that can cover innings to help this bullpen survive. This bullpen is something that can survive if they don't have to cover a ton of innings. And guess what? They're having to cover a ton of innings already. By the way, my prediction on this is that Yohan Valdez sees a contract offer.
Oh, yep.
25. It seems to throw pretty hard. Electric vibe. Like I like him. The ball seems to move a good bit. I know. Tough camera angles past few games watching, but already got 4 outings, pitched well. But like that's the thing with Gary. Like 6 games, he's had 4 outings, and it's like, hey,
that's not how this is gonna go well.
That's a lot of usage, man. Like he pitched every game against Milwaukee. And by the way, pitched every game against Milwaukee, did not give up a run, gave up 1 hit, and that was in the first outing.
That's why pitcher against Milwaukee.
Like nasty, but
we're going to burn them out. Also, batting wise, like, guys, you got one dude that's hitting.
Oh my God, I know. What are we gonna?
Well, Larry's the only guy here right now.
I know there's no easy solution, but I want to be a part of the solution. I'm like rooting for Gary more than I root for like probably any other team.
Yeah, it's just like one of the guys we talked about in the preview, like LG Castillo, for example. Like, guy, he's supposed to be important. He has a home run, but in 6 games he struck out 10 times.
Yeah, I mean, no one has an OPS over 700 except for Valera. So that's cool.
And then Sierra here, not Valera, but Sierra has 7 Ks in 6 innings. Like, well, Decker 4 in 2 games. Like, there's a lot of guys here that, like, there's potential. They can be good, but like
that 10, that double digit strikeouts is tough in 6 games.
It's bad week.
Also, 2 for 4 on stolen bases. Guys, either do it or don't. Like, pick one. I like, this is off topic, I like Long Island committing to the bit on stolen base thing. Like 5 or 6 for 11, and they don't steal. They're well behind the pace on everybody else. Everyone's getting stolen bases without getting thrown out, except for Long Island. Know thyself, Long Island. Stay on first. It's fine. Wait for a home run. Which Frank Schwindell's coming up soon. You'll be fine.
I just want to point out 2 of the guys I highlighted in that preview: Narcisco Crook and Alex.
Oh my God, is he having a start?
Phenomenal.
Doing numbers. Narcisco, he went bonkers deep today, man. He went Yahtzee. Yeah, that was a shot. He was part of that whole debacle between the dogs and Doc Hounds. Damn. Yeah, he is having a year. With that 5 home runs in 5 games now?
I believe so. Yeah, 5 and 6.
Yeah, unreal.
Yeah, 3 home run game against Gary. Oh my God.
Yep. 3. Then they almost had another 3 home run game today. The dogs did. Someone else went with 2 today. I forget who it was.
Josh Freewald got 3 too on the season. Good for him.
Getting after it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm not. There's, again, more confusion with what to make of this situation in the American, I guess. But in general, I would say I'm interested to see what the hell's going on with Cleveland here. Lost again, 4-3 now. That's interesting. That's a hole for sure. Yeah. Offense has scored 1 run last 2 runs last 4 games. Uh-oh. Hey, Nick.
Yep.
Hey, Nick. Uh-oh. Yep.
What?
Don't want to score more than 2 runs in 4 games. Pro tip.
Yeah. That bad?
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's not good. I'll tell you that much.
Damn.
And like, look, I mean, they did, in fairness, face Zach Keenan tonight, who's I like a lot. Good. Zach Keenan deals, but that was not quite what they're dealing with Winnipeg. In fact, they're facing a lot of guys multiple times, and it did not work out for them. So interesting, very interesting. I hyped them up in my preview, and now I'm like, uh-oh.
That's not good.
Were they 4-0 at the time? Yes. Was I already hyping them up before that? To be fair, yes. So I'm failing.
You also did call Sam Dexter. Yeah. Plus, you also did call Sam Dexter one of the bottom bats in the Red Hawk lineup, and he is batting .421 now. So
yeah, I still stand by it.
We'll see if it stands. Only other thing really in the association I want to cover early on. I mean, same problem as the Frontier, where there's just not that much to be here to draw conclusions on. Sioux Falls, surprisingly good start. Beat up on Lake Country. Mm-hmm. Got beat up a little bit by Kane.
They beat up on Lake Country, and then how much better that aged once Lake Country swept Chicago. That feels better.
Definitely. That definitely is true. And they hung around with Kane, too. They didn't really get ran out of the building. So yeah, that's a plus side there.
They ran out the building. I like that's their standard.
Well, no, I mean, a 3-2 loss and a 4-2 loss is not bad.
No, I get it. You're right.
And then a 10-6 win's a nice way to recover from it.
Got
some got their home opener. They coming up here against Fargo, so we'll see how that goes. And then
I'm interested to see how that offense plays at home. I think they're built for it, so it's going to be interesting.
This could be an interesting little 2-week stretch for them. Fargo, Cleveland, Milwaukee, Gary.
Go learn a little something.
Yeah.
So what do we call them? Let's just take. Why not? The Fargo, Cleveland, Milwaukee section, right? 9 games, right? Yeah. Math. Yep, 9.
Yep, 9.
What if you're them? Are you happy to take out of that record wise, and what is like unacceptable record wise to take out of it?
This really comes down to is Cleveland scoring runs again.
No, it's true.
I feel like bare minimum is probably 500. It's 9 games, so I guess 5-4.
I was kind of thinking that too. You come out of that 5-4, you leave this first week at 9 and the first 2 weeks at 9-6. I think you feel pretty good about that.
Yeah, like that's the thing. Like then you have Gary for. Yeah, you have Gary for 3, which is odd. They have a doubleheader on Monday, then off Tuesday, then play Wednesday. That's odd, but
it must have been some graduation at Gary. I'm seeing a few of those in the schedules.
Okay, yeah. I mean, then at that point, you figure you win 2 of 3 from Gary. You leave May with a winning record. It sets you up good,
and like a winning record, like not even close.
Yeah,
realistically,
exactly. So
and you're right. I think I agree. I think unacceptable is if you lose both series.
That's the thing. You
got to win at least 4. You can slip by with a 4 and 5.
Yeah.
I think if you go on a 3 and 6 stretch through here, it's like, oh, okay, Sioux Falls is not one of those teams like that. I will be able to move on. Yeah. Now the interesting one, and this is why I find the birdcage fascinating. I'm looking at that. I'm like, ooh, like Cleburne could be cold still coming into Sioux Falls. And I think that offense for Sioux Falls is built for the birdcage. Like they could really get Cleburne bad. But I'm also like, or alternate angle at it is Cleburne goes to the birdcage and wakes up because
that's
obviously. And all of a sudden they are the team dropping touchdowns all over people for the next month. And we're like, well, that was okay. That was a blip on the radar then. I think of when Jersey last year went to Gateway and just like the opposite of that, where Gateway was hot and then Jersey came in and wrecked them, and Gateway like sucked for like 3 weeks after that. Like, I'm looking at the potential for that in reverse for Cleburne if they go to Sioux Falls.
Anything else we want to get to, or do we think we're at a good spot here?
I think we're kind of at a good spot. Oh shoot! I did hear I got shout out on the. We'll bring this up. Why not? I did hear I got shout out on the Hagerstown broadcast. I haven't gotten a chance to go check it out, but Jordan Nice Warner from the broadcast for Hagerstown mentioned that he shouted out myself and the coffee cup today on their broadcast. And I think I want to make this a thing, dude. I don't know what to do. I'll be honest. I don't have this fully thought out, but I would love to find a way to like put a prize out there. Funny if it would be Dunkin' gift cards, frankly, but I also don't feel like getting that much in the way of Dunkin' gift cards.
Noted corporate shill, Ryan.
Fascinating. I am. I think it would be funny. So for those who haven't been following on my Twitters, the coffee cup is tracking games that start before noon and how teams do in them. And so far there have been, let me do the quick math. We've had 26 games start before noon, involving 27 teams. Right after today, after their win today, is now sole possession of first place for Lake Erie at 3-0 with a 9-run differential. And then it's Staten Island behind them at 2-0 with a 17-run differential. I'll go win percentage, and then I'll go number of wins typically. Okay. Actually, if we're being technical, win percentage and then number of losses and then number of wins, and then we worry around differential. We'll go, but that's semantics. That's the way saying should be done, but don't get me started.
So what you're saying to me is because Staten Island's up there high, the Fairy Hawks are up there high, the early bird gets the worm.
The Fairy Hawks are up there high. Yes, you're right. Yeah. And what else? Who else? Dirty Birds are up there. Yeah.
Early birds get the worm.
Redhawks are at least have a winning record. Well, hold on, let's see, because the Ducks are 500. So hold on. Let's see how the Birds are doing. Honestly, man, not wrong. Canaries are not good, but that's the only bird that stands out.
What, Three Rivers playing one of these yet?
They have,
because Egal is just
equal 1-on-1.
One.
I know this, but they're just 1-on-1, so it wasn't really notable.
Oh, well, aren't you worldly?
Mm-hmm. I took high school French. I gotta say,
so did I. See, we're on the same playing field now. I failed high school French. Yes,
I legitimately, I think, did like the Bert Kreischer thing of like, if I went on the trip, I also got like a free grade. Essentially, like, oh, okay. The couple notable ones I'd mention is, this is where I need to start doing it. I want to check this one out. I want to, maybe I'll fold in. I need to, before I make it an official thing, I need to figure out exactly how I want to do this, because I've also entertained the idea of winning percentage versus what your winning percentage is normally.
Okay.
Like, because I'm impressed if it's like, if say New England were to like go like a 250 winning percentage this year, but they're like 500 or 600 in like morning games. It'd be like, hold on, what's happening here? So like, I'm considering that, because, but there are some that like buck trends, like,
okay.
Who was it? Oh shoot. Sioux Falls, they played well, but they're 0-2 in their morning games, right? So they have 3 losses, but 2 of them are morning games. And then there was a bad team, I think, that played well. Not really. Well, that's not fair, because I think of Lake Erie as like not that good of a team, but they have been good so far this year. But the surprises at the bottom is not surprising though. The bottom teams, the bottom 5 are Gary at 0-2, Sioux Falls at 0-2, which is, I guess, kind of surprising. We just talked about that. Hagerstown at 0-2, Joliet at 0-3, and the Legends at 0-4. And I believe they might have they were all home games too. It's part of another thing I want to track this year. This is how this started, actually. I just wanted to track how much of an advantage the home team has in these early morning games, because I've always theorized that a home team does better because it's just easier. You're already in your morning routine as opposed to having to get up, hotel breakfast, and then, get yourself organized while you're on the road. It's easier to just get up in a familiar situation and get going. That's the idea.
Yeah.
Anyway, I can let it go. But if anybody has thoughts on how to like properly operate the coffee cup before I make it like an official thing, and also ideas what the prize could be, my current idea is like, my thing is I don't want to get in over my head on something financially, perhaps, but I love the idea of like, if you win the coffee cup next season, every morning game you have, I'll pay for coffee and donuts to be delivered to the ballpark. That's my thought.
That's expensive.
But I don't want to go over. You'd be surprised.
Hold up.
What?
Here's what you could do.
Okay.
This.
Oh, I love it. Yo. Now, here's the thing. If I get it,
yeah,
I'm traveling to present it.
Right here. So let me go ahead here. I'm going to explain this. So what I'm showing right now is a bunch of these coffee trophies.
What is
They're
that? The coffee
trophies.
Donut one. No. Back down.
This one? Or this one?
Good Lord. No. The handcuffs.
So what I'm showing right is just a bunch of different trophies of coffee cups. Yeah, all you can engrave it for free. So right
kinda
here.
Sexy, but that's in my conversation. Chief Ralph Wiggum. Jesus.
New York Police Department, 25 years in noble service. But right now we're looking at a trophy of a coffee cup and a donut, the Simpson donut, handcuffed together on a plaque. So, like, you could go ahead and have this thing here. You could put your logo on this thing, engrave this thing. Oh my God. Like this, I feel like you got to go trophy route in this one.
So I'm really interested in morning games. I always have been, to the point where I almost thought about like only going to morning games this year just because it's funny. And I hate my job, but honestly, I don't. And the reason I don't is because when there's morning games, there tends to be a few, and it gives me something to watch during my workday. So it actually helps. So that's why I don't. But there's so many things to make of the weird morning baseball game. I'm obsessed with it. It's like such a funny quirk. You never really see it in other sports. I did notice like the Reading Royals, I think, had a couple, the local ECHL team to me, which is funny.
Yeah.
But I love the idea of doing some sort of prize with this. If it took off, I would like make it a bigger deal. Like if it became a thing, I would make it a bigger deal.
You get this one on Zazzle here.
I was also really surprised by the reception it got when I mentioned it. That's why all of a sudden I'm like, wait a minute. All right, maybe.
I like the idea personally. I think
I like it too. I think it's funny if we like, if I went and like presented it too. I think it would be freaking hysterical. But here's the thing: if I don't present it at a game, like after you win it, as if it's like the World Series trophy, like on the field, like microphone, no one left in the crowd because the kids all left already, like in the 6th inning, and like no one even knows this is happening. So it was me and ballpark seats, and that's fine. And I'll present it.
Here's the thing. Realistically, though, social media admins here, instead of making crappy emoji tweets, do this instead. This is like so much free content here. You go ahead, get the intern to follow Ryan around a little bit, hyping the thing up, make basically a mockumentary about this, and then
there's
boom.
always that token when someone can clinch the championship. There's always that like token, like the trophy is in the building tweet. Like where you like show like the Stanley Cup like rolling into the arena like that, but with the coffee cup trophy. I think too, it's equally funny if they're into it, if the players are into it, or if they're not. I think that's funny both directions. I think that's great.
Oh my god!
I think it's funny.
Will there be a coffee shower or no?
If you have the opportunity to clinch and I fly out to like freaking Schaumburg and they don't, and now I gotta fly to like to High Point.
Even worse.
The whole thing is so silly, dude.
You fly out to Ogden, Utah.
I know, dude. The Pioneer League hasn't even started with this. I know. It's going to be interesting.
Oh, my God. You don't understand how much I want the Oakland Ballers to win this thing now.
That's fine, dude. I can just walk right into their park and wait for them.
But they have security, Ryan.
They have a clubhouse? Or is that a module unit?
Well, they used to teach grade 6ers in it, but you know, it's still fun.
I'm rooting openly for YOLO so I can take a Davis trip. That'll be interesting. I'm gonna think about this, man. I think they might do this. It'll be really funny. And like, even if I'm the only one into it, whatever, that's fine. Even if like it's just me, you, and the podcast audience who's into it, it's like the
worth it.
It might take on like the Blake of the Year thing that Barstool's like the PMT guys have going on, of where it used to be just them, and then like the two Blakes were kind of into it too. Like now, like it might be just that, and that's okay too. I'm just trying to think of every iteration of how dumb this could possibly get.
No.
What do you I don't know. We'll think on this more. But if you have an idea, definitely send it to me, because I'll try to finalize this idea next week or so. Probably even faster, because I'd like to get it before we start hitting weekday morning games again.
And that is about the best possible topic we could do to end this show. Where can they contact you at, so that way they could tell you the coffee cup ideas?
Contact me. You can find me on Twitter at IndieBallNation. You can find me on Instagram at IndieBallNation. You can find me on YouTube at IndieBallNation. You can find me on TikTok at IndieBallNation. I did just remember TikTok. I got to figure out some content. Actually, no, I know the content I want to do.
Don't waste your time. That's getting banned.
I know the content I want to do. I have a bunch of fun stuff on YouTube that I just need to get through these stupid season previews for. So you need to actually do my Frontier League preview and then finish my Pioneer League one. And then I'm free. I'm free to do some very dumb content of Ryan watches baseball. You watching Ryan watch baseball, which cannot possibly end well for anybody. So I'm pretty excited about that. Other than that, you know, in the wise words of Boss Mandilo, these off-white, these no Hirachi. Bad bitch, 50th floor, eating hibachi.
This is good.
Edit what you need to.
Indie Ball Report everywhere except for Twitter. That's Indie Ball Pod.
Indie Ball Pod.
There'll be more shows. There'll be content. Hopefully I won't have to edit as much. Till then, don't forget to play ball.